Well, it's a beautiful winter day out in Utah today, and we are going to do some snow photography. We're heading up the canyon, and there's been a lot of snow in the past couple days, and based upon these footprints, looks like I and one other person is the only one who's dared to trudge up here. So hopefully with all this snow, we can get some good shots in. So here are a few tips in doing snow photography. Is you always want to dress warmer than you think you need to. Right now it's probably about 22 to 25 degrees outside, and I have a lot of layers on. I've got three pairs of pants with my snow pants over to keep things waterproof, and then I've got a sweater on, an alpaca jacket which is really warm underneath my other coat to keep the water out, and then I've got my hiking boots on with crampons because I knew I was going to be hiking in the snow and I don't want to be slipping and sliding all over the place. Got my beanie on, and I'll tell you, I'm hotter than I expected. I'm actually on the edges of sweating, which isn't the end of the world. I'd rather have that than being cold, because you don't want your hands to be cold, you don't want your toes to be cold, because then it makes everything really unpleasant. Then you don't want to be out here, and you don't want to focus on composition and trying to line everything up right. You're going to get frustrated. It's going to be really unpleasant. So if you can keep yourself warm, keep your hands warm, it's going to make for a much better photography experience out in the snow. I'm going to give you a little scan of how beautiful it looks out here. You get a lot of those beautiful contrasts in the winter time between the lights and the darks. That's also what makes it tricky, because you don't have a beautiful blue background of contrasting fluffy clouds. You have white. So you got to put in a little more effort finding the right place with the right contrast to get your scene just right. Without it, it'll be too flat, too gray. So we're hoping as we pass up here through the trees, we can see a few good spots to get some shots and then get some cool images of the waterfall. This is an example of a shot I'm going to try to get here. I'm going to try to use the contrasting dark river with the snow on top of the rocks and use the natural line of the trees to frame out the shot. Here we are, our final destination. As you can see the waterfall behind me. That's what we were shooting for. Had to shed a layer off because the hike was tougher than I thought in the snow. So I was getting real warm. I didn't want to get too hot and sweaty. So we've got our camera set up here, and we're going to see what we can capture here with this waterfall. Do a little long exposure, some short exposure. Wish I had a little more except whites but obviously that is the challenge of the day. It's snow photography, and there's a lot of white. A few more tips while doing snow photography is the cold and your batteries are not friends. Any batteries that get cold, they lose their power and they don't last long. So a key is bring a bunch of batteries if you have a bunch of batteries. If you don't have a bunch of batteries, because they can cost money, is to keep your batteries closest to your body as possible. Not in your outside pockets, but on your inside. So I've got one right here on my inside pocket, right close to my chest. And then I've got two more batteries on my inner jacket that are close to my body also, so I can keep them warm. So they last a lot longer, and you don't want to get on top of a hill or a ridge or a waterfall and find out that all your batteries are dead. Last little tip, and I've seen differences on this one. Some say when you're done, take a compact flash card or SD card or micro SD card or whatever you got, take that out of your camera. And some say to stick your camera in a plastic bag. Now the reason I don't think that's a good idea, because the plastic bag is going to trap in all the moisture that may be on your camera. So if you've been out and it's snowing and your camera's got some moisture on it, unless you wipe everything off, that moisture is going to be trapped inside the bag with your camera. What I always do when I'm out doing astrophotography and it's cold, or I'm out here doing snow photography and it's cold, I take my memory card out, I put everything in the camera bag, then I bring the bag in the house and I let it sit. Let it sit so it can climatize to the room, so it can slowly heat up, and then you don't have to worry about any condensation or any moisture getting trapped in the camera, because it'll slowly come to room temperature and you're not going to have that big shock for the camera. It's always worked for me, never had any issues with it. I've never done the plastic bag technique, but if you like that and it works, go for it. There's a lot of different options out there. So we've wrapped up the waterfall, and now I'm just heading back. Gonna get a few more river shots here. It's always really pretty if you can get some rocks on the water that have snow and the dark contrast to the river behind you. That's gonna about do it for today. Weather's gotten colder, it's snowing in my face, and my lips don't want to move too fast. So hopefully you've enjoyed the tips. Last final tip is get out and shoot. You can read every article, every tip, and none of it's gonna matter unless you get out and actually shoot. So take your camera, go outside, shoot around your neighborhood, and start small and work your way up. You'll find as you go, you'll get better and better every time you go shooting. Stay warm. See you next time.